What's up, everybody? I almost didn't record today because I feel like nothing happened. Today was a super boring day. It's Saturday. I'm all by myself. There's nothing going on. And I realized how uncomfortable it can be to just do nothing. I feel like we're constantly trying to do something, be somewhere, have something going on to not just sit with our own thoughts. And a lot of this came up because I've been reading The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and she gave us this assignment, I want to say, for the week that was no reading, which I also included to be no TV. She did say, like, you can listen to music, things like that. But the whole premise is that we are so busy filling our time with TV, books, music to basically distract ourselves from our own thoughts, our own feelings. And again, it's a super uncomfortable way of living, I want to say, because we're so not used to it, right? We're all programmed to not be bored. And I remember as a kid, that was the thing. That was the thing that that our parents probably hated most of us when we said the words, I'm bored, because then they had to somehow find a way to distract us. And I remember TV being one of the biggest distractors and the easiest, especially if, I mean, both my parents worked. And then, once they were home, there was always like cleaning, chores, stuff out in the yard, stuff inside the house that needed to be done. So as a kid, it's like I wanted to be entertained, but my family isn't there to entertain me, right? They're so definitely I would go play, and I would have friends over or I'd go to friends' house, but there was never really time of just sitting and being with myself, being with my thoughts. And I feel like that's the same for most kids. Most kids are keeping themselves busy in one way or another. And I read somewhere, I'm not sure where, but play for kids is a great way for them to get creative, to use their imagination. So instead of someone um, watching TV or playing video games or things like that, it's play at least will like ignite creativity. So today I was trying to think of um, basically what I could do without watching TV, without reading a book, without filling my time with something that I would usually do. And I did my normal walk. I ran some errands, which needed to be done. And all the other times in between, I've been trying to think like what I want to talk about today, um, what I should do next week, what I should do next month. And then that's the thing about this whole year is I want to be present in the moment. I don't want to distract myself with plans because that's another way I feel like I distract myself is constantly making plans. uh, you know, what's going to happen next week? What's going to happen next month? What's going to happen this year? And when you're constantly planning for stuff, or at least I find for myself, if I'm constantly planning for stuff, I'm not staying present in the moment that's happening. So when I was sitting with myself today and not distracting myself, I realized how much society and just American culture tells us we're lazy. You know, if you're not doing something, you're lazy. If you're just watching TV, you're lazy. And it's almost like we've been rewarded for staying busy, for not being bored. Because I feel like if we're bored, then our minds are running. We're actually like letting room for creation to happen. And nobody nobody wants that. You know, people want, I shouldn't say people. I feel like the hierarchy of our culture is that we stay busy, stay working, stay distracted so that we don't realize, you know, that we're all just kind of part of this machine and not breaking out of the machine and doing something differently. And I realize too, and I've been kind of working through this for the past year, is really having those days of not doing anything, how much, you know, those thoughts come up and then feelings come up, and then this like pattern that we need to fix the thing or fix this to like or suppress that feeling. You know, some people drink, some people smoke, some people um are like doing all sorts of watching TV, watching the news, watching the sports. It's just like this constant distraction to keep them from feeling our feelings and burying these thoughts in our head. And I don't know if this is really the answer. I just know that this this project this week for this book of, you know, doing nothing is very it's intense. It's intense, the thoughts and the emotions that come up when I'm not distracting myself. And I think that it's wonderful. Like, it's this book came into my life at the perfect time because this is the time I need fewer distractions. I need fewer plans. I need to not be in this planning mode and this work mode because I need to give my brain space to really like integrate all these things I've been learning over the past few years about myself, about how I operate in the world, how I want to operate in the world, and come up with some like big ideas and some big projects. And so it's interesting because I want to do more, but the key to that is to do less. At least right now. Like this is like the incubation period where you just like sit and think and dream and imagine and also play. That's a big thing too that I think we're so used to filling our time with distractions like TV, reading, you know, alcohol, drugs, whatever, that we forget to like play. We forget to just go outside and like pass a ball back and forth or go for a bike ride, go for a run, just experience something different. Go to the theater, you know, and so instead of doing it kind of like how you always do it, it's like switching it up and finding something that you maybe miss doing. Like, I miss just dancing in the kitchen and listening to music and like singing at the top of my lungs. And I've been doing a lot more of that lately. And it's interesting how, like, it used, especially as a kid, it used to be something I just did automatically. And now it's like, I almost have to think about it. I almost have to, um, it has to be like the right song and the right music and the right whatever just to feel it. And it never used to be like that. So this is definitely a hard a hard week, leaving out all the distractions, but I know it's gonna be great moving forward and really just figuring out what my big ideas are and eventually making some plans. I know I say it's the year of no plans, but obviously things are going to start happening and I'll be have to do some planning, some logistics, things like that. But for right now, it's just being present in the moment and knowing that that I my plan, not my plans, but just allowing my brain and body and everything to relax enough to start having those creative bursts again. So, if you've been distracting yourself with all these things, like what's one thing you think you could eliminate for a week and maybe not miss it, or it would be like the perfect thing to eliminate to get something else done? Like I've noticed when I'm not distracting myself with like TV or reading, I'm cleaning more. So it's like, or, would you get that project at your house done if you weren't doing something? So I don't know. I kind of want to challenge you to also do nothing for a week. When I say do nothing, I mean just, instead of doing your normal routine, whether it's TV, like I said, news, sports, like background noise all the time, if you just kind of shut it off and see like how much you accomplish when you're not distracted. So, yeah. If you happen to do this challenge, leave a comment and I'll see you guys next week.